You are not going to believe the sheer audacity of this woman. Our protagonist, Marcus, a decorated Navy veteran and a federal prosecutor, simply wanted to move into his new luxury home. But the HOA president, an entitled tyrant we'll call Patricia, decided his presence was a threat. She didn't just file a complaint. She dialed 911 screaming about a suspicious intruder and stolen property. But the nuclear level of irony? When the officers arrived, they didn't cuff Marcus. Instead, they recognized him instantly, and Patricia's carefully constructed world of power and privilege came crashing down in a single, humiliating moment. Because this is the story of how an HOA queen was utterly destroyed by her own racist actions. Before we dive into this absolute bombshell of a story, do us a huge favor. Smash that like button, hit subscribe, and let us know in the comments if you've ever dealt with an HOA nightmare. We have new, shocking property dramas dropping every single week, and you don't want to miss what happens when these entitled tyrants finally meet their match. Let's get straight into it. It all started on a humid Tuesday morning in the exclusive Willow Creek Estates. Marcus, a man who had dedicated his life to upholding the law, finally achieved his dream, a beautiful 3-story home. He was moving in with his wife, Dr. Lena Davis, a world-renowned orthopedic surgeon. The moving truck was barely parked when the Queen of Willow Creek, Patricia, the tyrannical, self-appointed president of the HOA, made her grand entrance, clipboard clutched like a weapon. Her first words weren't a welcome. They were a violation notice. "You need to move that truck immediately," she sneered, eyes narrowed in open suspicion. Per Section 4, Subsection B, all commercial vehicles must be off the street by 9 a.m. It's currently 9:03. That's a 3-minute violation, and you're blocking access. Marcus, exhausted, tried to be polite. "Ma'am, this is my moving truck. We'll be done shortly. It's not a permanent commercial vehicle." But Patricia wasn't listening. She was looking at Marcus, a tall, strong, black man with a cold, judgmental stare that instantly shattered any illusion of neighborly warmth. "I don't care what kind of vehicle it is," she snapped, emphasizing kind. "It's a commercial-sized box truck, and it's a violation. I'm writing you up for a $500 fine, effective immediately. If that truck is not gone in 30 minutes, I'll have it towed." Marcus, sensing the intentional hostility, looked Patricia straight in the eye and said, "I just bought a $1.2 million house in this community.
Oh.
Are you seriously opening our neighborly relationship with a threat and a fine over 3 minutes?" Patricia simply smiled, a thin, venomous expression. "Welcome to Willow Creek, Mr. Davis. We have standards here. Consider this your first lesson." Marcus watched her walk away, deciding to ignore the fine and keep moving, which, as you'll see, was the exact wrong move to make. The next day, Patricia escalated the situation beyond all reasonable limits. Marcus woke up to find his driveway entirely blocked by 2 massive, industrial-sized dumpsters, deliberately placed side by side to prevent his car from leaving the garage and the moving truck from continuing its work. A brightly colored notice, stamped with the HOA logo, was plastered on his garage door. It read, "Temporary Work Zone. Restricted access due to unpaid fine $500 and ongoing violation." His wife, Lena, had an urgent surgery scheduled that morning and couldn't get her car out. The emotional and professional toll was immediate. Marcus, incensed, confronted Patricia, who was now gardening nearby, observing the chaos she had created with a smug look on her face. "You cannot block my access. That is illegal. My wife has an emergency surgery today," Marcus demanded, his voice trembling with contained fury. "What?" Patricia stood up slowly. "The fine is still outstanding," she drawled, dripping with false sympathy. "Perhaps you should read the covenants, conditions, and restrictions. It authorizes the HOA to take measures to enforce compliance. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have to make a call about an unauthorized person on the property." She then pulled out her phone and, while staring directly into Marcus's eyes, she dialed 911. Her voice, it suddenly high-pitched and panicked, echoed through the quiet street. "Yes, hello. I need the police immediately. We have a suspicious, aggressive man trespassing on the property, and he's attempting to break into a home. He is yelling and threatening violence. I am the HOA president, and I fear for my safety. He's a large black man, and he's not supposed to be here." Marcus's blood ran cold. This wasn't a fine anymore. This was a deliberate, racially charged attack. He held up his hands, feeling the terrifying weight of the situation. The siren wail in the distance was the last sound he heard before two police cruisers screeched to a halt right behind the dumpsters, trapping Marcus on his own porch. The two officers, Sergeant Miller and Officer Chen, approached Marcus, hands resting on their holsters. Patricia immediately rushed toward them, playing the victim perfectly. "Thank you, officers. He's the one. He was screaming at me and trying to force his way into that house." She sobbed dramatically. Sergeant Miller looked at Marcus. "Sir, can you step away from the door and tell me what is going on here?" Marcus took a deep breath. "Sergeant, I am Marcus Davis. I am a federal prosecutor with the Southern District of New York, currently relocating to the local field office. This," he gestured to the house and the dumpsters, "is my newly purchased home. And that woman is the HOA president who has illegally blocked my driveway and called the police on me for moving into my own property." Officer Chen squinted. Sergeant Miller paused, a flicker of recognition in his eyes. He slowly removed his hand from his weapon. "Wait a second," Miller said. "Marcus Davis? The Marcus Davis? Didn't you handle the conviction of the notorious Ghost Runner smuggling operation last year? You worked with Captain Ramirez on that." Marcus nodded. "That's me, Sergeant." The color drained instantly from Patricia's face. The police officer called to save her was now recognizing her supposed aggressor as a high-profile, federally protected colleague. Sergeant Miller turned to Patricia, his tone shifting to contempt. "Ma'am, Mr. Davis is a federal prosecutor and the rightful owner of this property. Your 911 call was for an aggressive intruder, which, given the circumstances, is a false report and a waste of emergency resources. We are now investigating you for filing a false police report and misuse of 911. Officer Chen, want a full statement from Mr. Davis regarding the illegal placement of these dumpsters and her specific comments about an unauthorized person." Patricia stammered. "No, wait. It was just a misunderstanding." Sergeant Miller was unmoved. "You explicitly described him as a suspicious, aggressive man and a trespasser, ma'am. That is not a mover. We'll need your identification." Marcus, having secured the immediate life-altering victory, finally allowed himself a small, cold smile. The fallout from Patricia's reckless 911 call was immediate. Marcus, being a federal prosecutor, knew exactly how to dismantle the HOA. He didn't just ask for the dumpsters to be removed. He filed a cease-and-desist order against the board, citing obstruction of property rights and targeted racial discrimination. Under the Fair Housing Act, the entire incident was recorded on Marcus's doorbell camera, giving him undeniable evidence. The video went straight to the HOA's legal counsel, and within 48 hours, the internal consequences began. The management company, terrified of a massive federal lawsuit, immediately suspended Patricia as president and stripped her of all voting rights. They issued a public community-wide apology to Marcus and Lena. The $500 fine Marcus received was not just rescinded. The HOA was forced to pay Marcus $10,000 in damages to cover legal fees and severe emotional distress. But Marcus ensured the police charge for filing a false report wasn't quietly dismissed. Patricia was formally charged and had to hire an attorney, facing potential jail time and a permanent criminal record. The truly satisfying payback came at the emergency board meeting. Marcus and Lena attended as plaintiffs. Marcus demanded a clear choice: either the HOA formally and permanently ban Patricia from holding any office and issue a formal written statement condemning her racist actions, or the lawsuit would proceed against every single board member individually. The vote was unanimous. Patricia was publicly shamed, stripped of her position, and banned from all future HOA involvement, her reign of terror ending in a complete, humiliating, and financially ruinous defeat. Marcus secured the final nail in Patricia's coffin a few months later. Patricia had been deeply entrenched in the community's social elite, the country club board, and a key fundraiser for a major local charity. Marcus quietly and strategically leaked the details of the police report and the HOA's findings, specifically the damning video and the formal condemnation of racial discrimination to the respective boards. She was promptly asked to resign from the country club board and her church roles. She became a pariah. Unable to bear the shame, Patricia quietly put her house up for sale. Marcus made his final, calculated move. He had his own attorney place a legal lien on Patricia's property, stating that the $10,000 settlement was a continuous debt attached to the property until paid in full, and that all potential buyers had to be notified of the pending false police report charges. The house sat unsold for nearly a year. Eventually, she was forced to sell the house at a massive loss, crippling her retirement savings. Marquis and Lena threw a huge housewarming party once the house was sold, inviting the entire community. As the moving van drove Patricia's belongings away, Marcus raised a glass to his wife, celebrating not just their new home, but the definitive final victory over an entitled bully. Justice served cold and federally. What an absolutely epic takedown. Patricia got exactly what she deserved, didn't she? Let us know in the comments. What was the most satisfying moment of revenge in this story? Was it the federal prosecutor reveal, the $10,000 payout, or the final humiliating loss on her home sale? Don't forget to subscribe, hit the notification bell so you don't miss our next story of sweet revenge, and share this video with everyone you know who hates Oz. Thanks for watching.